Alright, so let's talk transmission oil change on the E90 M3. What tools are we going to need for this job? 8mm socket, 10mm socket, 22mm socket for the oil strainer. I didn't have a 22mm socket on hand, so I used one of these to get the oil strainer off. The drain and fill plugs, they're an 8mm hex thing like this. Then of course you need a torque wrench, and then you need a drain pan, and you need a pump to get your fluid in. Now what kind of fluid do I use? I switched my fluid to amsoil MTF. The MTF works really well in the M cars. This is the BMW fluid. I don't care what you use. Let's go ahead and do this. First thing you want to do is pull off the transmission cover. That's held on by 8mm and 10mm bolts. There are 3 8mm bolts in the front that are connected to the cross brace. Take those guys off. That whole thing will just slide out. Okay, so step 1 is to remove this shield from underneath the transmission. You have various bolts here that hold it on. So now we have the transmission exposed. The next thing you want to do is take your 8mm hex head and remove the fill port. The fill port is on the driver's side of the transmission if you're here in the US. The drain is right here and it's an 8mm. The fill is right on the other side over in here. It's a 8mm guy like this as well. Make sure the fill port comes off first, and then remove the drain plug and drain it into a pan. Once everything drains out, then you can take your 22mm and you can remove the oil strainer. 22mm. There's a little filter that came out of the transmission. It's all clean, so we're good. We're gonna go ahead and put it back in. Inspect the oil strainer. Mine was clean, even though the oil that came out of my transmission was pretty dirty. The torque spec on the oil strainer is about 18 foot-pounds. The torque spec on the drain plug is about 25 foot-pounds. So you put the strainer back in, you put the drain bolts back in, and then you have to fill it up. So you get your fluid pump out and put whatever fluid you want. Alright, so we're pumping the fluid up into the transmission. You can see that the little thing goes right into the hole up there. That's where the fill port is. For me, it took about 2.2 quarts. I even drove around and checked it after, and 2.2 quarts seemed to fill it right up there, and it stayed full. So you fill it up with your fluid until it's coming out the fill hole, and then you close it up. And of course, the fill plug is also 25 foot-pounds. All you have to do after that is put your cover back on and drive the car around and enjoy the smooth shifting car. It made an enormous difference on this car, so I highly recommend that you change your transmission fluid if you're having any sort of shifting issues. Before you go in for a fix, try changing the fluid. It makes an enormous difference. Thank you guys for watching. Enjoy your car. If you have an E90 M3, you are a lucky guy or woman, whatever you are. All right, thanks for watching.